Spring camp wrapped up over the weekend. What was your overall evaluation of how things went?
It went great. We had four teams, about 80 kids that came from all over Lower Mainland, some more from Seashell. I was impressed with the overall quality from what I heard. Feedback from this year compared to last year that the quality was a little bit more competitive. So that's a step in the right direction.
Now, you went through the player evaluation phase with your staff. What types of things were you looking for in the players who were on the ice?
Well, just players that brought their game, whether that be a defensive game, an offensive game. We just told all the guys to step in and do what they do best. So as far as the team aspect, guys that compete out there on a consistent basis, play a whole hockey game as far as defensive zone coverage, being creative in the offensive zone. But I think the complete game for the coaching staff was the most important thing.
Now, obviously, you're throwing players together that some may have played together before, others maybe not. What specifically did you like about the way that the scrimmages went when they started on Saturday?
Well, it's tough for them. They're placed in a situation where they haven't any familiarity with players that they're stepping on the ice with. I mean, some of them, there's very few that played in the same association or played in the same team. But we tried to separate that. We just wanted again to see what they could do, what they could formulate, how they got together and played in a short tournament situation, in a round robin tournament situation, and how they made out in that team concept and developing that quickly as a little mini tournament team.
Now, goal scoring was an issue for the Panthers this past season. Did you like what you saw in terms of offensive ability from the players at camp?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's again, you're not really in a structured environment. I mean, we go back to you talking about familiarity. It's just, we're going to add a lot of speed. I hope to the team this year. It's definitely going to help. You watch Pittsburgh Penguins, and they've got a lot of speed, and they're doing pretty good right now. So I think speed is the the menu for success. But it's difficult. Again, we had no veterans out there, so it's difficult to assess.
How about the goalies? Were you impressed with how the players between the pipes played?
Yeah, you know what? We brought two on, invited two to main camp. Actually, three. We were very pleased with the top three, and they're going to all join us in August.
There were close to 30 players at the camp from the Tri-Cities, Anmore, Belcarra. Do you see recruiting from the immediate geographic area around Port Moody as important, or do you look outside immediately when you're taking over the team here?
No, it's important. It puts fans in the seats. So we had 10 players from the Tri-Cities, 6 of them from Coquitlam, 3 from Port Moody, and 1 from Poco. So it does help, and saying that, there's some good quality young players there, and hopefully they can wear a Panthers jersey down the road.
There was a big group of players there that were 1999 born and 2000 born. Now, for 2000 born players, those are guys that you can only have 2 on the roster for next season. Were you looking at that, or are you looking at these guys as prospects for not just 2016-17, but beyond?
Well, yeah, it's a great crop. The 99s, the 2000 more so. It's a great crop of young hockey players, and I think we'd like to take more than 2, unfortunately, but the rules state that you only have that many. So I think it's a stepping stone. It's a development tool for us. We'll have some kids play for us, 2 of them. We're going to commit to 2 of them. I think that's important in the development phase of the program. For the hierarchy in the dressing room, it's always good to have young guys around. It's good to have the 20-year-olds around just the same. So for me, it's something down the road, and not to say that we can't affiliate, a couple of those 2000s, or at least have them as development players in the dressing room.
Did you have an idea going into the camp of how many players you'd be earmarking to invite to main camp?
We were looking about 10 to 15, and we attained that. It might even stretch that out to 20, and take a look at the guys we have returning at 15. That gives us 35, and then just a buffer of about 10. I'd like to bring about 45 guys to camp.
That was my next question, was the fact that if players maybe played themselves onto your radar, were you looking at being flexible with the numbers coming to main camp in August?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we made it. Wanted to at least have everybody come through the prospect camp, and to get into main camp. I mean, but there's going to be those guys that couldn't make it. They're injured. They had other things planned. I mean, it was a busy weekend for hockey. The Challenge Cup was going on. We picked a long weekend. It's a long weekend, but we were very pleased with having 80 players or 4 teams. But I think there's going to be that handful of guys that didn't have the opportunity because of that time commitments, other commitments, and also players that have committed to other teams that they've decommitted. It's a huge process as far as. I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want to have to say no to somebody that gets released from a junior A team. So that's where the buffer of 10 comes in.
What was the feedback like that you heard from parents and players and other scouts, being that this was the first camp you've run for the Port Moody Panthers?
Well, I heard great feedback. I mean, awesome feedback. It was competitive, it was well organized, and that's due to what Frank Ianturno and Dennis Upsena did as far as the GM respectively and then the president respectively. They were great. They made it easy on the coaching staff. There was 5 of us there doing evaluations. But Frank talked to the parents. We had a little group meeting, and they were very pleased with how it was run, the professionalism that was thrown into it. Like I said, the competition, et cetera, et cetera.